Test 1, 2. Test 1, 2. Yeah. Hey, Lisa, can you see the numbers and everything real good on my screen? Hey, Trademeister, how are you doing today, brother? I just realized I was talking to everybody and I wasn't unmuted. Trying to do two things at once here. I'm very good at it. So, can you guys read the numbers on my screen? Is it clear? This chart? Very. Okay. Good afternoon, Synthel. Yeah, check on your normal monitor, not the 65-inch one. So, do you guys have any charts you want to go over? Any chart you're looking at? Any earnings plays you're wanting to review? Before I forget, let me put the link to the Excel sheet in here as well. It's much easier to read. Good, good. Hey, Paco. All right, so here is Excel sheet for the week. Yeah, I like Apple too. I was looking at it. It's flagging out real nice. They have an event next week, right? Um, so that one definitely needs to go on the watch list. um, I don't know how to. Not always, Paco. That's a good question. So, um, anyone not in this room, Paco's question was, quick question, between value area high and value area low, or where 70% of the people are. Is it correct to say 15% are above and 15% are below? Not always, from my understanding. Like I don't use software like TOS that does that automatically, or Trading View or TradeStation or whatever it is. But it it takes it tries to get to that point, Paco, but sometimes it's just it you're just taking the center chunk. There might be 18%, 13%, you know what I mean? Like they're trying to get it as close to that as possible. But from my understanding, it's you can't do that all the time. Yeah, they're just trying to get that middle, right? That middle 70%. And so, it's not going to be like 10%, 70%, 20%, right? It'd probably be more like 13%, 17%, right? They're trying to get that as close as possible. Um, Now I'm trying to figure out how to post this link on YouTube, and I don't know how. Let's see. Um, anyway, so yeah, let's look up Apple per Lisa. Lisa, have you got your computer issues fixed? So you can see Apple's stats here. Are these numbers big enough for you guys to read on this screen for Market Chameleon, or does it need to be bigger? It's kind of small. All right, let's zoom this in here. That's good. All right. So 2 weeks out, right? Minus 10 days is the 15th, which was Thursday. Um, and you can see Apple's stats are just, they're 67% across the board. And so, we probably do get a push into earnings, and then we have an event this week. Paco, didn't you post that about the event this week? I think Paco posted what was going to happen with Apple. They're introducing new stuff. Apple Pencil, I think, was one of them. iPads, earphones, whatever. So is this going to be a AirBuds? Yeah, there you go. Is this going to be a sell the news event? Probably. Uh, most are, but who knows, right? We don't know. We'll just play the price action. So if you look at the Apple chart, right here's the gap fill. So you can see that line we gap filled and we broke above, and now we're just coming back and back testing it. So structurally the chart is nice. It's sound, and I was looking for some squeezes on it, and you've got a nice little 30-minute here, and you've got the start of a 78-minute. So the 78-minute needs a little bit more time to develop. Um, but you get above, you start creating new highs. Give me one sec, I'll bring it back. Your next resistance point really, $137 and then $142. Um, so those are the lines that I see drawn. So I'll include this on here, Lisa, for your idea. I like it a lot. And the great thing about Apple is you can actually scalp options with it. So let me see. So you were thinking even a day trade on it? Nice. Yeah, good. Yeah, you can. The great. That's the great thing about. It's a great thing about Apple. It's so liquid and everything's traded so heavily. You can pretty much do whatever you want. You can set up day trades for options. You can set up. I'm actually going to post something real quick. So I'm going to drop an anchored VWAP just from the breakout line. And what I want you to see is, so structurally, you see we've kind of come back and filled this gap to the wick. You still have this gap. So I would love a gap down on Monday to about here to shoot up. If that doesn't happen, a gap up, I would play the back test, the gap fill, or even if we open up flat, maybe we can get a whip down here to fill this gap around 132. Um, but that's how I'm looking to play it. And for anybody that trades a larger account and is more comfortable, you can even get really big with Apple. Oh, whoops, let me take this. All right, so Paco says, Donald, question. After watching some of your videos and during many of your presentations, I finally figured out why your charts sometimes have different colored candles than our charts. The difference comes from you having a candle trend. So are you talking about candles like this one or this one, that one? Are those ones you're talking about? So here, I'll show you, Paco. I want to get as much information as possible from the candlesticks. So if I come in here and I look at, I'm trying to figure out which one it is. I don't know which one it is, Paco, that brings me back to the one that you're talking about. The two that I will use are this one. This tells me everything I need to know, and this one. Those are the two that I will use. So, what information am I gaining from here? I moved it. So, like this one right here, what is this candlestick telling me? Why is it colored in green? So, you see how this one's colored in green, and then this one over here is not colored in red, but all the other ones are colored in red. So, why is this one hollow and why is this one filled? Yeah, exactly. So, it opened up higher, but it went lower, right? And on this one, it opened up lower and went higher. The other, a buddy that I trade with, I refer to him a lot. He's the French guy that I always make fun of. His name's Matt. He writes all the codes and everything for me. Really, really smart guy. He uh he can't stand these charts that I use. He uses the full color. It's all one color. I'm trying to let me see if I can find one of his charts. He says it's just too ugly for him, and for me, I like it because it gives me more information. Right? Let me see if I can find one of his. Is that what you're? Yeah, they do make great bread, right? And great wine, right? Is that what you're talking about, Paco? That's it. Yeah. It just gives me a little bit more info. That's it. And there's no right or wrong, right? Some people like it that way. This guy that I trade with, Matt, he's a seven-figure trader. He's really good. And he doesn't use it like I do. He uses the solid colored ones. Yeah, I can't find one of his charts. Um, the search button's not working on this one for whatever reason. All right. So let me catch up with these other questions. Paco, that that GIF is hilarious. This is this the new warning that's going to come on all the Peloton machines? You know, unless you're unless you have a super dog or super pet or child, don't put them don't operate your treadmill around the around the animals and pets. That's funny. All right, let's see. Lisa said on TOS, I tried to measure the gaps on a 30-minute chart. Does 0.02 mean that hasn't filled, mean the gap is still one we need to consider? So that's a great question, Lisa. So you know how I trade. It's all psychology, right? It's all trading the other trader. Um, Great book, right? Trade the Other Trader. So think about it psychologically. Why do we fill gaps? Well, first off, we're looking for them, right? That's one reason we fill the gaps. Um, but the other reason is, can anybody get it? Anybody take a guess at why we fill gaps? Yeah, support, right? So Highlander says support, and what it comes down to is, uh, like on Tesla the other day when I said, when Augustin was saying, hey, is there resistance here at 745? And at the time, there wasn't. There was air. There was nobody there to sell, right? So on a gap down, right, below you, there's literally no buyers. Nobody had bought there previously. And so on Apple, or here, let me use Tesla. It gives you a bigger gap here. Let's pretend we start getting into this gap on Tesla. The psychology of it is, it's right here. There's literally no one that has bought in between here that is saying, you know what, I'm willing to buy at this level because I bought at this level last time and I made money. Like there's nobody there. They just didn't do it. And so when you go to a 2 cent gap on Apple, that's like, is it really that big of a deal? You know, not really. So you're technically correct. Now, when you talk about technical analysis, absolutely, people are going to be looking for it. People are going to say, hey, you know what? I want to see that fill. A lot of people choose to fill gaps on wicks. So, for example, um, certain charts, if you look at an hourly chart versus a minute chart, the wicks will fill each other. But if you zoom in, you still haven't filled that gap. And so for me, what it all comes down to is exactly what Highlander said. It's support. Where can you find support? So as I look at this Apple chart, to me, this gap's pretty much filled, right? Like, yeah, I'm not worried about this gap underneath. It's not that big of a deal. It's not going to play into much of what I'm thinking. However, this gap's a little bit different. So if we start breaking under this, we probably come down and fill this gap, right? That I will take that into consideration. Now, the other thing to remember is the longer you go, like the further you go out, let's say this gap's still here after a month, you have built such volume profile levels and support and resistance areas that it doesn't mean as much until you start coming back down into that gap. That's when wicks become much more important. People will start measuring off the wicks. So I hope that answers your question. All right, let me catch up. Support pocket, that's what I used. Paco, yeah, post in some levels. Let's check it out. Let's see what Paco's got. So here is Paco's chart, and it is a 30-day, 5-minute play. So, Paco, these yellow lines, are these the value area highs and value area lows that you've got automatically putting in on TOS? Is that what that is? Because TOS can automatically put in your value areas, value area low and value area highs. Yeah, yeah. I love the help that you give everybody, Paco, by the way. If I haven't told you that lately. So here, let me bring this down to the minute chart, and I'll kind of show you on Apple the minute by minute chart that I'm looking at. And you guys know on the 65-inch screen, right? I literally have 2 cent separation. So right now I'm looking at a screen that has 2 cent separation on the volume profiles, right? And the biggest bar is 134.33 to the top side, and then after that it's 134.50 to the top side. So like when I bring it back over to this screen, you see how it's got 5 cent separation? So it's not quite as zoned in or zoomed in, but it's still, it's still those are the levels. You start climbing over these levels, you're going to start seeing some nice push. All right, let's see. Yeah, of course, Paco, of course. All right, Crunchy, do you have a list of biotech names you want me to pump in here for anybody else, or does anybody else have any ideas that they want me to throw onto the watch list? If you do, throw them in, and we'll run through them real quick, and we will add it to the list. Let's see, DC. Let's check it out, DC. So CMI. So their earnings are on 5/4. Let's see if that's verified. So CMI is verified. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the stock patterns. And this is CMI's stock patterns. So no real advantage or disadvantage here. It's just kind of 50-50. Um, the day before it does push into it. So here I'm gonna download this image and just put it on the screen for everybody to see. So this is what DC is sending us. So you're saying if it cracks 267.30, let me check that out. So the first thing that I want to do is see from the gap down area, and I'm going to take this. I'm going to take this point of control from the gap down area first. So this is what this looks like. So you can see we gap down, we're starting to come down, we're above that, we've created this pattern, and then this 260.79 is literally the point of control down here, right? So you're right, we're breaking above that. So the question becomes, where's the next resistance points? The other one that I see is at 263.75, really. And we're already above that. So what I do is I'll scroll backwards on the chart to see the next areas of resistance. And I got 267.27, which is exactly what DC got, right? So then you've got back to 275. Let me see if I see anything before 275. So DC, I haven't done this. I'll do this live with you. What I would do at this point, right? We've got this 267.27. We know that that area is going to be part of the resistance, right? So where are we going to find the next resistance? Well, we're not just going to go from this to 275, right? Because of all these people. So what we need to do is we literally need to zoom in. And who do we need to zoom into? We need to zoom into these people, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a bar on each side that I want to say, you know what? I want to find the VP levels in here. Whoops, wrong bar. Between this point and this point, right? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take it to my bigger screen and I'm going to zoom into that area to see where these people are. See if I can take it down to 5 minutes. See how tight I can get it. So what it looks like to me, and I'll snip this out, and you can see the picture of it. All right, so I've got this. I want you to see the VP levels that I'm seeing. So I'm going to snip this out and just move it over. Well, that didn't work. I thought it would shrink it down and you'd still be able to see the VP levels. Here, I'll paste it into the chat. Here, Crunchy, let me message you here. All right, so here is the VP levels I'm seeing on CMI. So you can look at that, Crunchy, right? So you're probably going to get a little bit of a rejection right at 270, right? So you got 270.67 to 271, basically. So you've got a little bit there, right? Exactly. Yep. So 270. And then it's kind of weird. I don't know why, but you see that one that's jetted out at 270, 288 to 273. So that's really going to be your resistance. So 270, you should expect a little bit of resistance, right? And then create that type of pattern, the bullish patterns. And then 273, you're definitely going to get some resistance there. Um, there's actually less resistance at 275. Now it is an even number, right? And so we will get some resistance there, but 273 will actually start the resistance. But yeah, no, I like it. Here, I'm just going to I'll just copy this in and put it on the watch list here. One thing that I would just kind of caution you on CMI, you see that high volume one, right? You said 1.2 million. You said high volume. You know that can be considered a pocket pivot, right? Showing that sentiment is changing. Um, Another way to play this is simply using that candle with that high volume as a second day play or a high wave candle over under, right? Um, and the other thing that I would tell you about CMI is it is an ICB. You see this? You see how it fits pretty much. Let's see, the high was 256.96. Oh, wait, am I getting this right? 265.96, 266.05. So do you see how we barely broke above, right? In technical terms, it's not. It's not an ICB, but pretty much it is, right? So we're if we start to get over this, we should start getting some legs. All right. They make great diesel engines, do they? With the infrastructure thing, we probably going to see some more. Let's see. I'm going to put these in Crunchy for our biotech from Crunchy. And then this one. Now, guys, always keep up with the previous week's catalyst plays that we put in here, right? Because we don't need to put in the same catalyst every time. It's just when things change or updates. That's what we update. All right. So it is time to jump on. Oh, we still got 3 minutes. So here I got a time for a couple more we can run through. Let's see which one you got in here. ENPH. I love ENPH as a company. So here, let me check that out. We've got watch and downtrend daily squeeze triangle for cracks 143.85. And so you're looking for this for a short DC. Am I interpreting that right? Okay, good. Because I was about to say, for a long, I don't know if I would take it. uh, but for short, yeah, yeah. It does look pretty right. If we flip this chart upside down, we're like, man, I can't wait for this thing to break, right? So you can see, right, this is just, it just seems like it just wants to crack. And let me see if I can find a good risk off level. So Crunchy, what I would tell you is the bottom of this is solid. And what I mean by that is between at, at 143.62, that's our longest bar. And then our second longest bar is 150. If it maintains these, it could reverse, right? And for your short thesis, what happens if it breaks, right? We've got a lot of air underneath. You've got some, you're going to find some, ultimately these two bottoms. So if I switch this over here, ultimately, you'll probably find some support off of this as a double bottom and then off of this. But VP wise, right? Like technical analysis wise, that's one thing. But VP wise, your first support isn't down until about 133 from the previous buyers, back in December 20. And then you've got some at 125. So that's I like that. I like that as a short candidate. Short, just for me, I like playing backsides, and so I'd love a crack down wash and then just short the back test. Yeah, that's nice. All right, let's see what time it is. 12 o'clock. Hey, Lakshmi, welcome all. Yeah, big ops. Thoughts on RMO for a reversal? Let me run through this real quick. So, big ops, what I would ask you is, why do you think it's going to reverse? Right? What's the thesis behind it? What is going to draw in people from this 204 million volume day? And let me bring up Finviz here. So I'm looking at RMO right now, guys, just real quick. And what is the float on RMO? So you got a 10% short float. You've got 100 mil float. All right, so the float rotated twice here, right? And so let me see. Last week you did 40% of the float rotated. So there's 50. So what I want to do on RMO is I need to find a anchored VWAP off of this float rotation play. So give me one sec. Now, I don't know why it popped up. I'm not sure the news on this. This is strictly a technical analysis. Uh, look, right? And what I like to look at the hourly and then the 15, and I start scrolling down to try to find a pattern that could signal a reversal, right? So on the hourly, there's, you know, you haven't put in a higher high. You keep putting in lower lows. So let's go to the 15-minute chart. Um, the only thing that I can see as far as a reversal is, do you see how this level broke, this $8 level broke and reclaimed? And do you see how it matches up pretty much with this low? It's a little bit lower. And so these are your all-time lows, right? So this is a good risk reward spot. If you wanted to take a shot at this, I wouldn't want to be back under this, $8 and basically $8. If this goes under $8, I wouldn't want to be in it. If you want to keep it tighter, and get out before the huge wash, I'd say 8.15. Keep this gap level. You can see it close the gap, right? Keep this gap level. What is that? Let me see the gap here. So it's 810 is the gap level. Um, let me check something real quick as far as their dilution as well, because I just don't know the story of this RMO. So dilution tracker. Let's see if they've got anything on this. They haven't dug into it. Yeah. So the other thing that I would look up on RMO, you need to see if they have any warrants, if they have overheads of any kind, convertibles, anything like that, to see if that's what's caused this. And a lot of times they'll put out an 8K and they'll say, hey, we've used up all of our ATM, we've used up all of our overhead, right, or whatever it is, and that'll cause a little pop. People will get excited about it because that's what creates this pressure. So that's my thoughts on RMO. All right, I'm going to hit the record button here. We'll run through this watch list. Hey, Vanna. Hey, Ozzy. Welcome, everybody. Pete, you just updated the ER sheet with the request. I missed the request, so thank you, Peter. Um, and everybody, the link for the ER sheet is in the alert section. And so there we go. Here's this week. All right, let's jump to this. Man, I need another screen just for all the windows that I have open. I have to have open. All right, let's see. And does anybody have any questions about last week's watch list? Um, DC, I got one question for you, and I hope you answer this correctly. Did you play CVS? DC, that's for you, DC. Did you play CVS? Yes, good. Awesome. So do you guys see how DC came in with his idea and he played it? He played his idea and look at the beauty that it was, right? And it did exactly what we told it to do. So do you remember how I tell you guys, hey, draw it the right side of the chart, and if it obeys, you keep it. If it doesn't, you cut it. And do you remember last week when we were looking at it, it was coming down into this line, this 73.90 line. And we said we do not want this to start closing below this area, right? And it never did. So get in it, ride the profits. And DC, what I'll tell you on this, I don't know if you're still in it or not, but you get above, really you're already above the major resistance levels. So what I would tell you is, put a trail stop in on this and then keep it above 75. You want to keep it above 75 and then just let it go. The, they do have earnings, so make sure you look up their earnings run in as well to build your thesis. All right, guys. So I'm still in DE, CAT. I'm still in these names. Um, any questions on anything from last week? If not, I'm just going to go ahead and jump to the other ones this week's. No questions? All right. In a quick test, I know I'm streaming on YouTube, so I know the lag's going to be a little bit different, but I want to just make sure I got the lag down for our room here. So can you guys tell me the number as soon as it hits? You ready? Go. 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000, 5 1,000, 6 1,000, 7 1,000, 8 1,000, 9 1,000, 10 1,000. You guys still haven't hit? You don't hear me counting? Oh. you Okay, tell me Tell me right when the numbers hit, right when you hear me start counting. Okay, you ready? Go. 1,000. 2, 1. Okay, so there's no lag. Okay, great. All right, so I know there's a lag on the YouTube. Now, I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to bring the screen over. So volume-wise, no lag. Is that always the case? All right, so I'm going to bring this watch list over, and you guys tell me, I'm going to count to myself, and you guys tell me when it hits. Okay, so about 2.5, 3 seconds. Okay, great. So if I'm switching screens, I need to go about 3 seconds. Gilbert says 1,000. All right, so what I'm going to start doing, guys, for after, I'm just going to put in what is included on after, and if it's not too big, otherwise I'll count it in. So does everybody understand how to read this after? Um, these right here are your after stats, right? So this is what we're looking at. So this is 1 day, this is 2 day, this is 3 day, this is 1 week, which is 5 days, and then this is 10 days right here, right? And so if you come in and you're looking at these and you're wanting to play them, you want to find something like Conagra Brands has great after, right? You know, USB, PNC, right? All these have really, really good after stats. Now, Lisa and I, we played PNC. So for me, I'm done with PNC. We captured the premium from the calls plus the dividend, and it worked out great. Did you play that one, Lisa? You're just going to keep the shares and sell calls on it again? Wonderful, wonderful, awesome. Yeah, that was a great. So that was all Lisa's idea. So I need to send Lisa a check, right, for the money that I made. And you're right, Paco. I do. You know what? You know what I should do? Let's do that right now, Paco. Um, it's a good point, Paco. So let me zoom in on this. I did, DC. I only played it with shares. I played real small, 100 shares. A lot of times I play these because I want to keep track of them to see what you guys are doing. So I wasn't paying attention to it. I did play it with 100 shares though. I think I made like, I don't know, 50, 75, $100, something like that. It's nothing big. I just wanted to keep track of it. Maybe I should just redo it, but let's see how this works. All right. As Paco deemed them, this should help the newbies. There we go. Yeah, we were all there. Watch. We were all there once. That's right. Yeah, exactly, DC. I wanted to see if see how you played it and if you played it because my stop never hit, which means you should have played it and made money on it, right? And um, right, Paco, we're all still newbies in some shape, form, or fashion. Like I'm still a newbie in valuation. Like I'm not the greatest valuation guy. I'm still a complete noob on that, but I'm getting better. All right, so some that I'm looking to play through are KNX, DHI, Love, STX, and Netflix. Here's the reasoning behind it. KNX has 75% earnings move to trucking company. That's why I like that diesel engine, right? That you were talking about. They make great diesel engines. I like this one with the high implied move versus the average move, right? And for everybody that doesn't understand that, all we do here is we come and we compare. This is your average move. I mean, this is your implied move versus your average move. Whenever you find some that are high, I mean, this is just 7.4 versus 2.6, that gives you great premiums. So you can do iron flies and iron condors on those. The other thing to keep in mind, though, is they're high for a reason. So DHI has an 83% opening gap. And with housing as strong as it is, I would expect good numbers, right? We got housing numbers coming out this week. Problem on this one is it's extended, right? It's at its all-time high and it's breaking out. So do you see how we broke out? If I would have seen this last week and paid attention to it last week, I should have been in it before this breakout, right? Beautiful pattern. There, I guarantee you there was a squeeze in there somewhere. There it is right there, 195, 130. I mean, this is picture perfect, right? So it's just one I missed. We should have been on it. But so now it's like, all right, do I want to play it extended? Well, if we get a pullback, maybe so. For me, I have to combine the chart with the data, right? So I need a pullback to get into this. I'm already in love, as you guys know, and I just, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm going to take a bigger loss on this. I'm gauged to take a big winner on this or a bigger loss on this. But I think the opening, I think the forward-looking statements for the airlines is going to be really good. I really do. And Love is my favorite airline. They do the best with the money that they have. When they put out their financials, you could see Love was the best they did the best with the money they had. And so it's my favorite company to play airlines with. So I'm going to be playing this a number of ways. I've got shares I'm going to be selling covered calls on, and I'm actually going to put naked puts for me, right? And it literally to be like to take 200, maybe 300 shares if it gaps down. Now, the other way that you can play it is you can use the selling of, if you think it's going to be bullish like me, you can sell it for a vertical call spread instead of doing naked. Because again, 75% earnings move. I'll also be playing with this on the day of for the drift. The benefit here is you get to read the report. If we gap up and it starts to do like a huge play, maybe the drift's not going to be as accurate, but that's what I'm looking for. Now, STX, just check out these stats on STX. It's ridiculously bad. And honestly, I couldn't figure out why. So if you look, can you guys see these numbers? Are they clear right here? Do you see how this is earnings move and opening gap? That's not clear. I need to enlarge. Is that better? So you see how it's just ridiculously bad numbers, and I don't know why. I don't know enough about the company, but I'm willing to take a shot just strictly at the numbers on STX. So Netflix, I'll most likely take an iron condor, but if I don't, then it will be a bear crawl spread for sure. So here's what happens on Netflix for whatever reason. Actually, let me actually just pull up the stock, the price here, so you guys can see, because I know a lot of people like Netflix and play Netflix. So can you guys read these numbers on the screen? Are these big enough, or do I need to zoom in on these? Good. Okay. So for whatever reason, look at Netflix after. Isn't it ridiculously bad? Like, it's like we expect Netflix to take over the world, and then we realize they can't, or they not, or they're not, and then we sell them off. And so, if you take a look at the chart of Netflix, what I would really love is if we get a strong push into Netflix and we start getting up here in the 565, 570 range. I would love it. I would definitely be taking a a vertical call spread on it. But let's say we even get up in here to the 560 range, I'll probably be doing the same thing. For me, just my opinion, there's no scientific proof of this. With the economy opening, more people going back to work, there's going to be less Netflix watching. That's just what I think. I have no scientific proof of that. It's just my opinion, right? So I'm looking at Netflix earnings to be actually negative. Um, it usually is, and so we'll see if it stays that way. Now, day of AAL and Love, you can look at the ER sheet. They have great drift, and then EW has horrible drift. So I think this is Edward Life Sciences. Flip them, right? That's how I'm looking to play those. Paco says, yeah. So last night he posted an article that Amazon is giving Netflix a run by investing more content than Netflix. Yeah, yeah, and so here's my personal opinion on that, Paco. Michael, yeah, let me answer that as well. Um, I actually met with the big wigs at the Amazon Prime, and I met with them, and they usually outspend Netflix. It's not abnormal that they do that. Their goal in advertising, they told me, was we don't want to be known for 2 day shipping. Anytime anybody hears Amazon Prime, it's 2 day shipping, right? That's just what you think. And so I don't take it that big of a deal that they're outspending. They always have, but they're always known as 2 day shipping, right? Now, where does the chunk of that money come from on that article that you were reading that you posted, Paco? It comes from them paying, 250 million for the rights of Lord of the Rings. Now, how many people are going to sign up for Lord of the Rings to watch this? I will. I love Lord of the Rings, right? Those were great movies. I loved it. So is this a tide turning event that they're getting Lord of the Rings? Maybe. I don't know. Um, but they've always produced uh, quote unquote better content by what do you call them? The people that give the awards, like the Golden Globes and all this stuff. They've won more awards in the past than Netflix, but yet they're still known as that. So it's like, yeah, I definitely hear it and I see it, but I just don't think it's that big of a deal. Prime coming after him. um, when you say take a vertical call spread, do you mean sell the vertical call spread? Yes, yeah. So on Netflix, for example, if let's just pretend Netflix is coming into this level, right? Then there's two ways to play it. If you come to our ER sheet, and we throw in Netflix at the home tab, and at the time, let's say the price is let's say 560. So do you see how this is lining up for 600 as range up? And then you take in the average move. So if you wanted to play it safe, it's a higher risk reward, but it's a higher win percentage. You could go for something like, 600 by 605 or 600 by 602. If you wanted to say, you know what, I think Netflix is going to actually have a negative earnings move. So I'm going to take a lower win rate, but a better risk reward. Well, then at that point, you could say, you know what, I'm going to take an at the money, a 560, 565, or a 565, 570 sell to open for the it would be the technical term is a bear call spread. That's how I should be referencing it. So I hope that answers your question. Lakshmi says kids love Netflix and the younger generation are doing movie nights online. Oh, that's interesting. Also, how many more new subscribers are out there for Netflix to add? I don't think there's too many new ones left, so this will affect their earnings report outlook. Yeah, you're right, and this is strictly from memories, so I could be wrong, but the main look for them is foreign, right? Overseas, I should say. Um, so Can you post the Market Chameleon Netflix earnings plays? Yeah, Crunchy. Can you clarify that for me? Are you looking for like the day before type earnings plays, like the option strategies, or do you just want me to put in any and show you the win rates like this? Because that's going to show you back to 2 weeks to 1 week or whatever. Yeah, absolutely. Here, we can post this. Um, let me actually do something real quick. Let me do historical opening range of 1 day before. So do you see how 1 day before, right? You've got 12 out of 12 on the top two, and then 11 out of 12 on the bottom three. So shorting an at the money call, and then the call credit spread here. Now this is telling you 25 delta call, sell the 25 delta call, long the 15 delta call. That's how they played it. You can use those, or you can. All right, so there's that. Let's see if I can post pictures in here. I don't think I can. Yeah. So there's the day of. So to actually post pictures, I'd have to go on to Twitter and do it on here. All right. Stats on. All right. So that's posted. And if you want to see the innies, I'll post that now as well. Now, I will for sure be playing after Netflix as well. And what I mean by that is when the report comes out and I can read it, um, and we'll see. We'll have some hard numbers to actually play, and we'll see if these patterns hold true. Because you see this after, it's just ridiculously bad. And if they come out and their numbers are in line, so just as an example, let me show you EPS estimates versus actual, right? So revenue surprise is here for Netflix, and EPS surprise is here, right? So this is telling you what they actually did versus the price effect for what they did, right? So you can come in here and kind of say, you know what, how did this affect the company? If they do revs in line, if they do EPS in line, are they still falling? You know, what if they report and they're under, what's going to happen? So you can kind of come in here and kind of get an idea of how the company has reacted or how the price has reacted per the last 12, actually as far back as you want to go, to see how it's reacted. That's what I do. All right, any questions on Netflix? We'll continue on. No questions? All right. So after you guys see I have Netflix in here as well, Hog and CCK, if you look at their stats, you know, on this screen, it actually might be better just to pull up the actual ticker so you can see. So you can see Hog, they have a 67% drift, but then 1 week, 2 week after, you're at 33%. So a vertical call spread, a bear call spread targeting that time frame would be a good one to take. You'd want to wait for a push up, right? So push up, this drift up, to try to sell it on a push up versus a fall down. It's like you never short a drop. You know, you want to short it on a pop up and then take it down. And then CCK, it's flipped it, right? Same idea, flipped. So that would be a bull call spread, or You could go directionals or whatever, but like in Chewy, for example, you guys remember what I did in Chewy? I actually took directionals and I took a vertical call, bull call spread because I wanted to make sure I was capturing the premium in case it didn't go, right? So I did actual both on those. So those are options for you. Now, for the run into, for anybody that's new, that's never seen this before, again, all we're doing is we're just watching this section right here from O to S. That's it. We're looking at O to S to see, hey, how do these run into? And so all you got to do is you just come in here and you're like, oh, well, look, Google 2 weeks out and 1 week out is 83%. It's above where it was 2 weeks out and 1 week out. So that's a great one. You know, Navi is a good one. And so all you're doing is you're coming in, look at Spot. Spot, man, it runs in real well, right? So that's all we're doing. HOLX, you can see Facebook, right? Nice time frame. And the way that this Excel spreadsheet is set up for you is so date wise, all you have to do is come back in here and say, look, 1 week before is column B. So this is telling me Facebook's 1 week before is 4/22, right? So on 4/22, I want to look at Facebook and see, hey, do I want to get in it, right? Well, 4/15, it's already in the past. So just so you know how to use these dates back here, that's what it's showing you. It's lining them up. And thanks for Peter and Matt. They're the ones that have put this together for us to make it easy for us to just look back and say, boom. And then the same thing for the day of and stuff, right? That's it starts highlighting it green on day of. So just make sure you guys know how to use this Excel sheet. All right. So I went over the day before, the run into. So any questions on earnings so far? You came a little late, Augustin? Yeah, so for AAL, what I'm looking to do on that one is I'm looking to play that one as a drift. I'm playing love through. So on something like Spot, would you capture premium or directional calls? So Roscoe, Ryan, Coltrane, you got so many names, brother. I don't know what to call you. It comes in two forms. I put in Ryan. On this one, I'm actually going to go directional. And the reason why, I'm going to do both. The reason why is because of where it is on the chart. Okay. So like Chewy, for example, I did both. So I was able to capture some premium and I got the pop up. All in all, win-win. I was comfortable where it was on the chart. Let's pretend Spot was up here. You know, depending upon the chart pattern, maybe. But I like where it is. I think we have room to run up into these guys, into over the 300 level, into this 325 level for the run-in. Now remember, Spot usually sells off after the earnings, like it goes down. So I like where it is on the chart. It's just a combination of things. You take, if you watch those trainings that I've got under edges in the education section, then you'll see that it's a combination of market environment, chart data, historical data, right? I personally believe we're going to be bullish over the next few weeks, a couple weeks. I know we're extended and we may get a pullback, and I could be completely wrong, and I'll have to eat face, right? That's fine. I personally think we're going to have what was Friday that wash. You know how it kind of washed? I don't know. We may have one little pullback, but I think the dip's going to get bought up. So I'm combining the stats with the chart with the market environment, and I think we're going to get a push on this. That's why I'm willing to go directional and vertical call spread. And a cheaper way to play it, do you guys know how Anant always plays butterflies? If you guys want to play a cheaper way to play it, get a butterfly, right? Buy a butterfly and go, 310, 320, 330, and you're going to get great risk reward. Okay. Oh, buy the dips trending on Twitter. Yeah, BTFD, right? So is any questions on that? Any questions on the butterflies or anything like that? That's a great point, Paco. Yeah, that's something to bring up to To Efren. Let's see. Peter, I don't know if you're in here, but LMK means let me know. And thank you, Mike, for that Netflix link. Yeah, you're right, and that's why I said in the past, like when I met with them, this was 4 or 5 years ago, when I was working with the Clippers, that I met with them. They were actually beating Netflix as far as awards go, but now Netflix has surpassed them. All right, so done with earnings. Let's jump to charts. For you guys, yeah, Peter, it's just a let me know. That's all it is. For you guys that are with me and been with me for a bit, I am still in CRM. I am letting this one ride. I still like it. What we're doing right now is we're coming up to a critical point, and you can kind of see it. Let me see if I can zoom in here. This, can anybody tell me what the purple line is? For you guys that have been with me, what is this cyan purple line? Oh, we got some we got a few different answers. Yes. People that said anchored VWAP is correct, right? So it's anchored VWAP, and you can see where I anchored this VWAP from, right? I don't know if you guys remember this or not, but CRM came out and it was actually a 10 times play that we were able to nail, meaning it went far outside its expected move and it just started going. It just blew out earnings. That's where I'm anchoring it from. So that's back here. So that's the anchored VWAP. You see we're starting to come up into that. However, I don't think that that's going to provide much resistance. If you look at the VP levels here, do you see over here on the sides right here? Let me shrink this dot down. I think your resistance is going to start coming in here and here on these numbers. You'll be able to read them better when you get the sheet, but that number is 241.61 and 247.26. So about 242 and about 247. That's the top sides, right? So what is that measuring? Well, that's measuring all the people that was buying at 240 and 245. So that's where you're going to start seeing some resistance come in. So I still think we've got $10 of room here. And so for me, what I'm looking at is if we can get a pullback, just a pullback, even maybe to the 8 EMA on the daily, to the 228 to 226 range, I'm going to be looking to add to this position. Now, I'm already in the money. I could sell out, right? Something that is so hard for newer traders to learn is when a position's working for you, let it work. And after you let it work for a while, like Anant did this on Starbucks, right? Anant finally took profits here. Like this was his final profit take. Before he was taking at the 127. He let one ride and he's like, man, this is beautiful. Well, the next step in your evolution is if it's working, why not add to it? I'm already green, so let me add to this. Your winnings start become exponential, right? Instead of letting one contract ride for that little bit, you're actually adding and you're letting 10 contracts ride or whatever it is, whatever size you're trading. So that's what I'm looking at on CRM. Now on Etsy, let me see if you can see it better here. A little bit. So I'm waiting for a breakout. If Etsy breaks out, I'm going to be playing the breakout. I am not playing a pullback. I want to be over these levels. So there's two ways to play this, guys, right? Buy the breakout or buy the what? Buy the breakout or buy the what? Retest, right? Retest. So what level would it retest? So let's put this into actual application type plays, right? So if I wanted to buy the breakout, what order would I put in? I'm waiting for it to break out over 222. What order do I put in to buy the breakout? Let's say I want to play with 100 shares and I'm going to go full position on this breakout. What order would I put in? Yeah, exactly. A buy stop. Exactly. Right? At what price? I want it to go to 222, let's say 15, and then I'm in, or oh 05, and then I'm in, right? Now, if I wanted to buy the retest, what would I put in? How would I do that? Lakshmi, so if I think 222 is going to hold, it's going to break out and it's going to hold, how would I do that? Because you can put in a conditional order, right? Yeah. So what I would do is I'd put in a conditional order that would say, hey, if Etsy breaks to 222, let's say 30, well, I'm going to try to buy the retest, and then I would put in a limit order at, if you think the VP line's at 221.75, you could put it in there. If you wanted to get a little less aggressive, you could put it in lower. But anyway, it's just a conditional order that's placed once the chart triggers and then your order is placed, right? So that's what I'm looking at on Etsy. RH. So Pete caught this one on the breakout. Man, this one was just a miss. I mean, this one was TTM squeeze written all over it. And if you look at this beauty, right? I mean, my goodness, high and tight consolidation. This thing is like, and then to top it off, let me see if I can throw in how many $600 stocks that are at all-time highs do you know that have a short float of 13.3%? I don't know very many stocks that are at 600 plus dollars all-time highs that have that high of a short float. So two ways to play this, guys. I don't know if the shorts are going to squeeze this or if we're going to get a retest here. I'm going to play this as a day two play. If you don't know what a day two play is, go go look under my edges under the settings. So Peter's actually adding another arrow to the quiver. I haven't even looked at that, Peter, and he's saying, hey, look at the run-in stats on RH. So they have great run-ins as well. So they haven't released when they're so June is when they're coming out. Man, they have great running stats. We just have to, Peter, we have to keep track of when 10 days out is, right? So what we need to do is we need to set a timed alert on TC 2000 to let us, say it is June 4th, beginning of June. I would go back, let's say 10 days before would be, I'd put in an alert around the 24th to start watching RH, May 24th. Yeah, so Gary, this is a problem that we have a lot. And I don't know if you remember, Gary, do you remember Nate would always play RH? Do you remember how he played it? Because the spreads are horrible. The way to play it, there's a couple ways to play it, but the main way that he played it was with vertical call spreads or vertical put spreads or spreads to be able to get filled. So yeah, that is a good point to bring up. The spreads on the options are horrible, and they've always been horrible. But you can get in there with spreads. You can get filled pretty good with spreads, and you can also put in fishing orders. That's how I play spreads. And if I get filled, I get filled. So that's RH. Now Uber, this one has a weekly TTM squeeze, and you can see it here. Look at this beauty. It's really starting to set up. But I want to show you the daily on Uber as well. Check out this daily. I mean, it's just beautiful. So what's happened, right? We've broken out of this. I would love a back test to this area to fill this gap. I'd be all over it to take it. Um, but it is a breakout play, and you can use the TTM rules on the weekly. I don't know if that's going to get you to the 80 EMA. I think it will if it gaps fills, so you could play it as a weekly, but just keep in mind that they have earnings on 5/5, and their earning stats aren't that great. It's let me pull this up and show you. I mean, they're okay. It's not ridiculously bad or anything, but 44, 67. So, the day before. But the reason I like this chart a lot is this plays into the economy opening up, right? Lyft, Uber, airlines. I think they're going to be making more money. The economy's opening up, more people using taxis, etc. So that's Uber. Now for the TTM, guys, this SE, you guys know I'm in this long term. I love this chart. Anytime I can play SE, I'm playing SE. The growth, the revenue growth is just ridiculous. And you can see this is setting up really, really, really nice here. It's starting to flag, and this is your squeeze that you've got going. You see this 2-hour squeeze? I mean, this thing, it just looks like it wants to go. So their earnings are on 5/17, so we've got some time to play. And if the market's going to do what I think the market's going to do, and again, guys, this is my opinion. I think we're going to be approaching 275, 280 area by earnings get here, if not higher. um, just go back and look at their revenue numbers. It's just crazy. So anyway, I love this, and I put in here on my watch list. I said I might put my entire account into this one. I kid. The reason being is I love the chart. I love the company. I love the market environment. Like, this is one that I just love to death, right? So when I find ones that I really love, I go bigger size. That's how you may find some that are like B plus. When I tell you to journal and grade your trades, grade your setups, when you start finding the A plus setups, that's when you need to start being able to grow your size. All right. Now, Roku has great stats for running into. It's in early May. We're coming up on the minus 10-day time frame. We have a lot of air above us. The question is, this is an hourly chart. This kind of looks like, a double top, kind of setting up a descending triangle type play. Now, statistically, descending triangles break down about 60% of the time, 65% of the time, right? Is that what we're setting up here? Maybe, but I'm willing to take it off of this lower risk level because I have good risk reward to try to capture the breakout, and then I can add on the retest. So that's what I'm looking at playing on Roku. This is a lower win rate play, but a better risk reward play, meaning you'll make more money if it does break out. Another one I'm looking at is Suave Shockwave here. Let's see. Let me put this in here. And same idea. Look where we are on the daily on Suave. Right, we're right underneath all-time highs. We had this failed breakout, which was actually, I'm surprised that it went above. Right, this is your first top. We want to set in, per the patterns, we want to set in some type of double top pattern here to create an ascending triangle for a trip top breakout for all-time highs. So that's what I'm looking at on Shockwave. All right, and then we are into, I like Crowd on the hourly as well. You guys can check that one out yourself. So the other people's ideas that I really liked was Apple. Paco posted some events coming up this week. Lisa likes the chart. I agree. It's flagging out. Apple, I'm guessing it's going to be a sell the news event. Usually those Apple events are, but could be wrong. CMI was from DC. Paco let us know that they make good diesel engines. And his VP lines are his this 267.30, he's dead on. We get over this, we're gonna have run room, but we actually dug in. It's not gonna be 275. It's gonna be closer to 270 and then 273. Those will be your two resistance points. And then a short candidate is I didn't put the ticker in here, DC. It's ENPH. Now, you guys know I like this company overall. Valuation wise, the numbers are just crazy. They're overvalued, so it could pull back. But you do have heavy soakers at those lines. There's two ways to play it. You can get in it preemptive on a pull up to this upper, 155, 160 area, or you can wait for it to break and then short the retest. And then Crunchy gave us some biotech updates for us to look at, and I played one last week. And to be quite frank with you, it was pure luck because they put out some other news, uh, and it just went straight up. So if you guys like these catalyst plays and you're looking for to buy stock and get bigger movement, the biotech catalyst world is the way to do that. But it's for every positive there is a negative, the yin to the yang. They could release data soon and it could drop just as much. But this is a way. This is how Kyle grew his account and how he continues to grow his account. Earnings has ENPH has earnings on 427. Good, thank you, Crunchy, for bringing that up. Let's yeah, this is going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what this does on 427. I'm glad you put that in here. Thank you. Because they're just so overvalued right now. Their ratios are ridiculous. All right, any questions? You got it, Esteban. Retest. Any questions, guys, on this? We got it in about an hour. Good job. If no questions, I'm going to cut this recording. And just for you, Efren, the file is saved. And it should have everything on there. AAP, let me check that one out. I thought that was a recent, oh, I got them confused. It's APP. Okay. So AAP. Oh yeah, advanced auto parts. So AAP daily squeeze. So let me tell you something, Lakshmi. It's too late to play it as a TTM. It's too late. We already broke out. What you have to play it out, you have to change it, right? So as the daily squeeze, you want to be in it. You want to be getting in it over here on these levels, right? This is where you want to be getting in on it on a squeeze, right? Comes down to that 21, touches that 21, right? This is where you enter on the squeezes. Okay. Now we've broken. Now you can play the squeeze rules if you want, but per the squeeze rules, you have to wait for this to get back to the ADMA. Now, if you don't want to wait that long, you can turn it into, I don't know if you guys have seen Justin's training on breakout plays. He has a TTM breakout play that he uses. If not, maybe we can get him in here to do the recording on it. I think he's already done it though. But it's still the same thing. All you're doing is you're breaking out, right? So you need this gap fill, you need this back test to play it as a breakout play. So that's all I can tell you about AAP. As far as the squeeze is concerned, this is over. The other thing that you can do is you can start looking for a shorter time frame squeeze, like the 5 minute, right? So you see how we broke up here, right? And we fired, and you see how we started getting a 5 minute squeeze here. You can play this 5 minute squeeze and try to capture this move, or try to find one on the 15-minute time frame, right? So you see how we're squeezing on the 15-minute time frame. If you want to get in and be a little bit more aggressive, you can shorten the time frame down and get in. But as far as the daily, it's done. Synthil, can I share the link to this file? Do you mean the website? I mean the watch list or the Excel sheet? The Excel sheet's posted above in alerts. CVNA has weekly, daily, and other time frames and a high share profile. Yeah, Carvana. So this was our mentors, one of our mentors' favorite charts, right? Because of that. So Van, I want you to take this idea and I want you to play it and I want you to play it your way, right? And tell me what to do. Um, so what is the thesis behind it? We've got weekly, we've got daily. You know, how else can we build a thesis for a long position here? What does Carvana do, right? What do they do? You know, is that going to play into the opening of the economy, right? Will that help? So you start building your own thesis and your own ideas, right? I, I don't know. Do you think that it's going to help? Do you think it's going to hurt? I don't know. I want you to build this thesis, right? I don't want to make you bias one way or the other. As far as short float, though, you're exactly right, and it's a pretty small float. So this thing could really squeeze. Let's see what their earnings run up is. Uh, 2 weeks out's okay. Look at the earnings move though. It usually has great earnings moves. Yeah. So how many weeks do you have before 5, 6, right? So you've got 2, right? So is this gonna work itself out in 2 weeks? The answer is no. Earnings will probably take this whatever directions it's going to go. Now let me look at this just technical analysis wise, because I do like the idea, the chart, and all that kind of stuff. I don't. I think more people are going to go out and buy cars. Your point of control, you're literally sitting at your point of control here. So you've got really good risk reward. If you start getting below 273, your next level, it's if it breaks 273, you'll probably bounce off 270, retest 273, and then break down. You've got a lot of people between 273 and 276. So you want to stay above there. So another way you could do this is check out this trend line, right? So you want to stay above this trend line right here. So no, I actually might play this with you. But can you tell me? I want to challenge you, Vanna. I want you to tell me a play on Monday to take on this. Okay, that's what I want you to do. All right. Let's see. I think vertical put spread and then want to take a startup call position. Vanna, I want you to tell me exactly what you're doing on Monday. I'm taking this call. I'm taking this spread. I'm doing this. Can you do that for me? All right. I think I've caught up with everybody's questions. If that's it, guys, I'm gonna jump off here. I've got a meeting with Efren after this. You guys don't know how. You guys don't know the struggle meeting with a Canadian. AHT. Yeah, let's check it out. Oh, AHT earnings. Yep. I'm lucky. He brings this bag in the office and says that we have to go through a process and not to remain stagnant. Um, yeah, they're about 50-50, man. And then day of real bad. Well, not real bad, not great. And then I don't see a real advantage on anything here besides the 2 weeks out. It's a recovery stock. Interesting. So AHT. Oh, hotel, motel. Yeah, it's interesting. All right, guys. Well, Oh, Crunchy, SE, what squeeze? I don't think SE's in a squeeze. Do I have that under the squeeze plays? I think it's just a chart play. I think it's starting like an hourly or something, but I'm not sure. That's from memory. Oh, it is under there. No, it's the 2 hour. So you're right. It's the 2 hour squeeze. And to be frank with you, 2 hours is one of my favorite. So you see how we've got the 78, the 78 already fired. It fired long. But if you go to the 2 hour, we're still in it and we're getting the Momo shift. 2 hours is one of my favorite squeezes. 2 hours and 130. I love them. So it's the 2 hour. Can you see that, Crunchy? You got it? Okay, great. So Beyond, what news was with Beyond? What was the news? So for me, I won't touch Beyond until it gets over 140. What level is that? Until it gets over 143. One of the things that I would tell you is, you guys know that that John Carter is the one that developed this TTM squeeze and blah blah blah. Do you see how these moving averages are just stacked down? You've got the 21 above the 8 and the 34 above the 21. Once those start crossing over and bouncing off of each other, that would be more when I take Beyond. But right now, it's just, maybe it's a mental block for me because I was shorting Beyond up here in the 200s back when it IPO'd. It's just ridiculous. And I still think it's overvalued, but maybe I'm wrong. Um, Back here, guys, I think they increased Walmart or Costco or something, right? So back in here, they were increasing orders. They were quote unquote heating up, and still all the news was sold into. So what I need to see is something actually hold on Beyond. Every single piece of Beyond news has been sold into. And once these moving averages start crossing over and you start getting them more stacked, that's when we're going to start turning that corner. And it's starting to do that. You see how they're starting to come up, they're starting to tighten up. So maybe this is that curve, you know what? And you're going to beat me to it, right? So ENPH isn't in the Excel sheet. I wonder why. I'll add that. Let me see if it just didn't get picked up in the scan. Yeah. So a lot of times, guys, if I've got to go through this, I think Peter just changed this for me. So a lot of times what happens is, I'll have already downloaded a sheet and I've already gone through and handpicked out the ones I want to pay attention to. And then somebody will announce like ENPH and I won't have them on there. And I need to come back in here and go through it and see. So ENPH is definitely one that I need to add. Did anybody see anything else not on the list? If you don't see it, just let me know and I can add it. Great session, Lisa. Hey, thank you, Lisa, for making me some money last week and working so hard. DG tells me you're just chomping at the bit, so I love it. I love it. Um, yeah, my pleasure, Big Ops. You guys take care on YouTube land. I'm going to end this. And